This is a special report of African Lifestyle
Records.
Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist Del Walters has produced a film titled Apocalypse Africa, Made in America, which details the United States' effort to destabilize Africa during the Nixon's administration. This film is a powerful testimony to the might and cruelty of U.S. policies designed to plunge the African continent into an irreversible path of mayhem, destruction, and death. This film is getting rave reviews around the world as one of the most important documents outlining the United States' responsibilities of Africa's plight. The film focuses on NSSM 200 and 201, a U.S. policy which saw Africa's population growth as a threat to national security. Accompanying the film is a book written by Del Walters called The Pottery Barn Rules, detailing the CIA involvement in everything from covert operations to assassinations on the African continent. African Lifestyle's Araba Dodson and Christina Collins visited Mr. Walters at his home in Northern Virginia, where they were warmly received. Within minutes of meeting the Walters, it was obvious to us that Mr. Walters' film and book is a must-have for every person seeking truth of what happened on the African continent, and hopefully someday justice. Here now is Christina Collins' interview with Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist Mr. Del Walters.
So Del, you just had a book published, and the title is called The Pottery Barn Rules. And then you have a film on this book, but the title of the film is Apocalypse Africa. So why the difference in titles?
The book is the film, the film and the book are one and the same, but they have different titles. And the reason we wanted to do that was the book is more than the film. It has all of the documents from the film, and then we wanted to go one step further. So in the film, we set forth the premise that the United States did something wrong in Africa. In the book, we say the United States did something wrong, and this is what it should do to fix it.
Coco. Contemporary African fashion and designs by Coco. Designs that make a statement while embracing the African culture. Coco. Sexy, elegant, youthful, Coco. African motif with contemporary flair. Coco. Extraordinary designs by Coco. Visit African Design Boutique and Gift Shop at 395 Garrisonville Road in Stafford, Virginia. Coco.
Africa. The United States broke Africa. We wanted its natural resources. We led coups against many of its leaders, and we are responsible for a lot of the destruction that took place across the continent. So if we broke it, then we should fix it. And that's how the title, The Pottery Barn Rules, comes up.
So that's what the book is about?
Yes.
Too. All right.
So the book lays forth the premise that Africa was not an accident. And there's this tendency to want to believe that what is going on in Africa now is the direct fault of poor African leadership, and it's not. I make forth the argument in the book, The Pottery Barn Rules, that if the British had succeeded during our Revolutionary War in this country in killing Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, what would the foundation of America look like? In the Pottery Barn Rules, we lay forth the premise that if the United States was responsible for the overthrow and assassination of Patrice Lumumba, then it killed the Congo's George Washington. If we were responsible for the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, then we killed Ghana's Benjamin Franklin. And if we were responsible for the overthrow of William Tolbert in Liberia, then we killed Liberia's Thomas Jefferson. So that's what you have to look at. It's not that these were random individual African men, but these were brilliant people. And they were the best and brightest of the African continent. And at the same time, one by one, they were all toppled in coups, most of which were engineered by the United States.
Del, I quote you. You said, "Enough is enough," unquote, during your interview with evangelist Leta Campbell.
Right.
On radio WYCB. Why did you say that?
Jews have a saying that when it comes to their Holocaust, that the world must never forget. The problem with Africa is the world has never really acknowledged that it's a Holocaust yet. You know, we're talking 20 million plus people dead in my lifetime alone. And what we do to make ourselves more comfortable is we cut it up. So one group is concerned about Rwanda, and another group is concerned about Liberia, and another group makes the argument about Sierra Leone, while another group still makes the argument about Darfur. And nobody looks upon Africa as the continent itself. And I make the argument that if we viewed Africa the way we do, that would be like telling Jews that Auschwitz was bad but not Dachau, and Dachau was bad but not Birkenau. The Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust, happened in many different countries, but it all had the same theme. Well, the African Holocaust happened in many different countries, but it had the same theme. And that theme was that the United States, China, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, France wanted the minerals that Africa had. And we were willing to do whatever we had to do to get those minerals. And sooner or later, African Americans and Africans have to stand up and say enough is enough. If 20 million people dead in the name of greed isn't enough, then what will be? And who will be the first to say, I wash my hands of this, and I'm not going to be part of that?
You have written so many books, and most of these books, almost all the books, are pertaining to issues happening in America, exposing what they're doing in America. But now you have written this book, and then the movie, the film, the title is Apocalypse Africa. Why Africa? Why Apocalypse Africa? Why not Apocalypse America?
I have done this topic before, and I've done, we did a documentary when I was working in television in Washington called What Washington Knew, and it dealt with the Jewish Holocaust. And we pointed out that during World War II, the United States State Department knew that there were places that American bombers couldn't bomb because those places were in all likelihood concentration camps. It was important to say Apocalypse Africa made in America because if I said Apocalypse Africa made in Africa, American audiences would say, oh, there go those Africans again. I wanted it to be a film about us. I wanted it to be a film about what America did, because far too many films that deal with Africans always have a common theme. They show Africans riding in, killing other Africans, but nobody pays attention to where the guns come from. And nobody ever pays attention to the fact that there aren't any guns made in Africa. So if they don't make the guns in Africa, then where do the guns come from? And once you pose that single question, then you have to ask why. And that's what we did in the film.
Right. In the film, I saw white men shooting black men in Africa. Did this really happen?
It is the first film that has ever been found where you actually see, the film that you're talking about was part of what they called Operation Red Dragon. And 400 Belgian paratroopers dropped into the Congo to rescue missionaries that were allegedly being held hostage by Congolese rebels. So the world saw the rescue operation, and they saw the missionaries being brought out to the helicopters and the awaiting planes. And as far as the world was concerned, these African savages attacked these missionaries. But the part that you see in the film is the part that didn't wind up in the final product. It was covered up by our own government for the last 30 years. And that's the film where you see Belgian soldiers opening fire on innocent civilians laying on the ground. And the reason that you know that they're civilians is they're not wearing military uniforms. And the reason that you know that they're wounded is because one of them actually breathes before he's shot. So you know that they were alive. And then what's even more bothersome about that is the photographers arrive a short period of time later, and then they take pictures of the people laying on the ground. And then remember, if you saw it, somebody took the picture. So there was a cover-up by the photographer that took the picture first, by the soldiers that fired the guns, and then by the United States government that kept it in the archives for 30 years and never let anybody see it. That film constitutes war crimes. It is just as bad as what happened in Abu Ghraib. And there is no statute of limitations on war crimes. So we are now in the process of trying to get someone to recognize this for what it is and to push it as far as we can go.
When we come back, I have more discussions with Del Waters, so don't go away.
The nursing industry is hiring now and looking for qualified employees. Start your nursing career today by enrolling in the Ultimate Health School.
I chose Ultimate Health School because they have a broad variety of courses and certification that I needed to further my career.
The Ultimate Health School offers flexible classes, hands-on instruction, and affordable tuition. Enroll in the Ultimate Health School today. Log on to www.ultimatehealthschool.com or call 703-933-9430. Coco. Contemporary African fashion and designs by Coco. Designs that make a statement while embracing the African culture. Coco. Sexy, elegant, youthful, Coco. African motif with contemporary flair. Coco. Extraordinary designs by Coco. Visit African Design Boutique and Gift Shop at 395 Garrisonville Road in Stafford, Virginia. Coco.
Available now, African Lifestyle TV presents Up Close and Personal, exclusive interviews with the Nollywood superstars. Get yours today at any and all African markets.
B&B Boutique is your one-stop shop for everything African, fashion for the entire family. Beautiful African textiles at wholesale prices. Thousands of African movies with new titles daily. B&B Boutique is Africa Central, with a large collection of beauty and fashion accessories, calling cards, moneygrams. B&B Boutique, 674 South Pickett Street at the corners of South Pickett and Van Dorn Streets in Alexandria, Virginia. Call today, 703-212-2037.
Advertise your business on African lifestyles and reach the African community. For more information, call 703-896-6212 or visit us on the web at AfriLifeTV.com. African Lifestyles, connecting business and community.
NSSM 200 was written up by the National Security Council, the highest decision-making body on foreign policy in the United States, to establish official population policy for our country. It was a classified document, top secret, written in 1974. It was only declassified in 1989. So people didn't know about it until just a few years ago, 16, 17 years ago.
Population was always one of these phantoms that lurked, kind of hovered in the rafters over a lot of policy deliberations. Oh my God, the rest of the world, which is mostly non-white, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What are we going to do about this?
It sounds racist.
It's racist, but it was never, it was implicitly racist, but it was explicitly cast in terms of the stability of these societies. I would have to say that every coup d'etat that takes place in post-colonial Africa, I would say all but perhaps 2 or 3, we're talking dozens here, were really truly independent of the United States.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, we are talking to Del Waters, an Emmy Award investigative journalist, on his new book called The Poultry Barn Rules. Right, Del?
Yes.
So, what is NSSM about?
NSSM stands for National Security Study Memorandum. So what happens is, when a president of the United States decides that the policy is going to change, they have a top secret study to determine what the impact of that change would be. So NSSM 200 is the most controversial, what they call NISM, that was ever written. And it dealt with overpopulation as a threat to the national security of the United States. Now, a study in itself is not that dangerous, but this particular study went to the CIA, it went to the Pentagon, and it went to what we call the industrial military complex. So everybody then realized for the first time that the White House considered the growing population of the third world, of which Africa was the fastest growing continent on the planet, to be a threat to the United States. So the military addressed it in militaristic terms. The humanitarian side of the government addressed it in humanitarian terms. So what happened was, for the first time in Africa's history, food started being tied to how many children you had in your family. So if you could reduce your population, we gave you more foreign aid. And that's how NSSM worked. But what bothered me the most about NSSM was the president who ordered the study, and that was Richard Nixon. So what we did in the film, what we did in Apocalypse Africa, was we asked a simple question, and you heard the tapes where Richard Nixon referred to African women as just out of the trees with spears. And he referred to, aborted black fetuses as the little black bastards. We asked the question in the film, if a president felt that way, if the president, the most powerful man in the world, was a